What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over aftermarket seat cowls you can get for your motorcycles. Obviously, you can get them on eBay, you can get them on Amazon. Usually eBay is the most used source in my opinion, but obviously you can get them on Amazon as well. So today's seat cowl we are going over is for a 2010 to 2014 BMW s1000rr, and it may be similar for some of the newer years as well. Possibly, the 15s, the 18s. I'm not positive. Definitely not the K67 2020 USA models, but definitely the 10 to 2014. But anyway, we do have our bracket installed. You can see this is the OEM seat cowl, and it goes the same way. Now, it did come with this bracket, but it did not come with the hardware. But you could just go to a local hardware store. You can get, 2 bolts. As long as it fits through here and it's not too big of a gap for the hole, that'll be good. And you can get, your lock washer and your nylon nut is what I use, just to make sure that, this thing stays put. Now, the whole point of this video is I want to talk about the lock hole. So for demonstration purposes, we're just going to show you this. This is the one that came with it. It's a China lock set and a just the regular key for it. Now, I already installed, this is an OEM one to match my key because I didn't want to bother with a separate key. I just didn't want to have 2 keys. I wanted the keys to work for the seat, the gas tank, and the ignition, obviously. This is let me see if you can get focus here. This is the ZXMT brand, which is the aftermarket fairings that I always recommend to people because they're usually great fitment. Now, there was a little bit of an issue with this, just so you could see. So it is supposed to fit nice and flush when you push it in there, right? There's a little bit of grease on this thing, so it kind of looks like crap. But anyway, so this is supposed to sit nice and flush. If it's not, then you may have to do a little bit of modification. And that's where that little Dremel came in. So let's talk about that real quick. So basically, on this part right here, it's going to go into here. Now, if you look at this, the last little flange sticks out, or plate, or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, it sticks out. You want to put that side, when you're putting it in here, you want that flange to be on this part because it's gonna go over here, and that's what's gonna hold it from, pulling out. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing is, if for some reason, when you're pushing this thing down, it does not get nice and flush like that, you may have to take a Dremel, and you may have to ream out a little bit on one side. You'll probably see, and at least in my case on this cowl, that this right side, it looked like it was, cut perfect. And this side, there was just a little bit of excess material on the side part. So all I did was just take a Dremel, and I was careful, and I made sure that, on this side, it just reamed out just a tiny bit all the way down. And I was able to push this thing successfully all the way down. I also had to ream out this part that the key lock mechanism or the cylinder goes through because it was just a little bit tight. You want to be careful because if you're looking at this, you can see right here that there's very little plastic, so you have to be careful because obviously if you go too far, you're screwed. You're gonna have to get a new cowl. Not that these cowls are expensive anyway, but it's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, so we had to basically, like I said, we tilted this over and we reamed out a little bit, basically that part inside there. You'll see if this thing was out, what it would look like. I'm not going to take it out just because I already have it installed. But yeah, we just reamed out a tiny bit on this side, made sure it was nice and smooth, because you have to remember that this lock mechanism is going to be in there, and you want it to be smooth operation. So that is where the grease comes into play. Definitely grease up this thing all on the sides a bunch, and grease up the inside of the cowl, just so you have some smooth operation. Once you get it to fully seat, and this part is sticking out, that part is good to go. Now, you'll also get a bag with these 2 pieces. The way that it goes is obviously the silver part will go in there and it sticks out like this. You can see on the OEM seat, that little part that's sticking out, that's this part right here. So you want this silver metal part to be on here just like that, so that it goes down. You can see that it fits in there good like that. You'll get your bracket. You can see that there's little indentations right here. So you make sure it lines up just like that. And you're gonna have to order screws from BMW, or if you can find out which ones it was. I just ordered the BMW screws just to make sure that they would fit. It will hold this down in place, and then you should be good to go. So I'm gonna go install this stuff right now, and then I'll show you real quick. Now with these bolts that you get from BMW, if for some reason when you're screwing these into each hole and it's not going down anymore, you may have to get a 1/16 drill bit and just drill it straight down into the hole till it basically bottoms out. Just be easy when you're doing it. Now the reason for that is because if you look at the screw, you can see it kind of has threads on there, so it should technically kind of screw itself into the plastic. I can't focus, there we go. So basically that will screw into the plastic part. That's why you want to use the skinniest drill bit that you got. I had a 1/16 drill bit, and that seems to do pretty good. Now I was basically halfway down and it stopped going. Now if you look at this screw, you can see it has pieces of plastic on it and the threads are not really visible. So you may have to stop, take these back out, and then, you know, clean this up with your fingernail, just run it through just to get the plastic piece off. And then that should get you down enough to secure it. All right, so here is the finished product. You can see that this latch is down and the screws are nice and tight, and actually got nice and tight now. Like I said, I had to take it out one time, get the extra plastic off the screw, and then I was able to go all the way down. You can see this is nice and tight now. This is how it will look when it's in the lock position. And now we'll go install it on the bike. All right, so here it is installed. Now we have our nice tail cowl. And we'll just show you that obviously this is the key for the bike, as you can see. And it works for the gas cap, obviously. And of course, since we got the lock to work with that, now it does work with this as well. So, and there you have it. So, total purchase, the cowl was like maybe 30 bucks or something like that. Unfortunately, the blue that they had on here didn't match, so I had to buy some paint and kind of get a paint match to that. And it's off maybe a hair or two, but it looks pretty darn good. It just depends on what angle you look at it. But yeah, so it does match pretty good. I mean, obviously you could tell. So I'm very happy with it. And obviously I had to spend a little bit on the clear, so. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today's video. Nice cheap China cowl, and obviously we have an OEM key lock, or key barrel as some people may call it. So pretty happy with this cheap cowl, and it fits great, so pretty happy with it. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.